So you've decided to move, or perhaps you're still considering a move. Wherever you may be right now in your state, I hope this video will be helpful to you. It's not just a checklist of, okay, I'm a week out from my departure date, what do I need to do? This checklist is 3 months, 6 months, even 9 months of preparation ahead. Especially when it's a country where you have to work really hard for every step of the way to validate your residence. If you're new here, hi, I'm Emily, you can call me Em. I've moved countries 12 times. Out of 12, there were 8 countries in 4 different continents. I've lost a lot of things over the years. I've left a trail of belongings in different countries, and I've wasted so much money and time unnecessarily. I don't want you to go through what I went through. Although, some of the most significant lessons are often the ones we have to experience intensely. So now that you have decided to actualize your dream of living in a different country, specifically speaking, you've chosen the city you want to live in, and it's time to do some left brain activities. So let's begin. First of all, you need to know what to do with your stuff. If you are lucky enough to have a place where you don't need to move your things, or perhaps you're not moving long enough to really justify moving all of your stuff. If you're renting like me, I needed a storage unit. Start shopping around to see which storage unit has the easiest access for anyone to help you, be it a friend or a family who can access your stuff, pick up the boxes and ship them out, or it might be a storage unit where they have staff on hand to do that for you. I'm about to cook this Irish sirloin steak. I cannot wait. I'm just trying to figure out how to cook and do this at the same time. This is a great opportunity for you to minimize. Take it as a challenge. And if there's any way you can start selling your stuff and use that money to celebrate your move when you get there and eat somewhere nice. I think the Facebook Marketplace is probably the most universal thing. If you're in Asia, Carousel works really well, especially in Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong. Out here in Spain, they use an app called Wallapop and Facebook Marketplace. This is important. Stock up. If you got medication and supplements that you can only get in your district, or perhaps it's something to do with insurance and stuff, stock up before you leave. Unless you know exactly where you're going and you've lived there kind of in and out before you make your major move, and you know you have easy access to things, stock up before you go. I got all my medication prepped 6 months ahead. It was such a good thing I did that because, oh my goodness, with the health system here, you gotta jump through a lot of hoops, especially as a foreigner. So yeah, I got all my meds here. I pretty much packed everything in like a giant bag. I kept them in boxes. I opened up several boxes. I shoved them all in like the individual boxes. They were pretty much combusting. And I printed out my prescription just in case I get stopped at customs at the airport wondering like, why are you traveling with so much medication? Okay, you now have the soundtrack of my steak cooking in the background. Let's go to supplements. Supplements, I didn't realize that there were certain supplements that do not ship to Spain. What I take that doesn't ship to Spain is the Thorn Magnesium Biglycinate. I'm not sure why it doesn't get shipped out here. I've checked Thorn website, I've checked IRB, well, it's typically only IRB where I get it from. I've checked the local distributors for Thorn supplements, but none of them allow this in here. I don't know. These don't ship to Spain either. That is definitely duty and tax, whatnot. Now, this used to ship internationally, but they have recently announced that they no longer ship internationally because of all these duty issues. I got my mom to bring me 4 boxes the last time she came, and I've been using them sparingly as much as possible. But if you're traveling, you are probably able to pick up some stuff that you cannot get here. For example, I got this when I was in Melbourne. It's the Uber Mag by Poliquin. I got it at ASP, Australian Strict Performance, with Ben Seung. So you can stock up on, different things, different brands that you trust. There's a lot of brands out here that I haven't done extensive research on, so I'm not going to recommend any other brands locally from Spain. I've been using Thorn and Element for years. I just started using Momentum in the last year, and I really like the products and quality, and I get the peace of mind that it's not carcinogenic. So yeah, stock up on your favorite supplements before going over to wherever you're going, because they might not ship to your country, and things might change. While we wait for my steak to rest, let's talk about what else you need to ramp in maybe 3 to 6 months prior. Schedule all of your health-related stuff. especially the ones that might take you a while to get and the ones who might need follow-up appointments. Typically, when it comes to moving countries, it would be a full-on health checkup. Whatever visa you're applying for, they typically want to see that you are clear of any infectious diseases. There are certain countries where if you are applying for a certain visa under a certain industry, you need to test for certain things. For example, in Dubai, if you are in the service industry, be it food, be it hospitality and stuff, there's a list of specific things that you need to test negative for. Just getting a blood profile doesn't give you specific tests to test for. Check which visa you are getting, which visa you're applying for. Maybe you're starting off with a tourist visa and then converting your visa later, but you also need to have an idea of which visa you're converting to and what's your backup visa. If plan A doesn't work, what's your plan B? And do you also meet the requirements for plan B? Your insurance. For Hong Kong, when I applied in 2013, even though I had at the time, I wasn't asked for it. Even when I moved to Dubai, they didn't ask for my health insurance. And my application was in 2017. But for Spain, all 3 times I had to submit papers for, back in 2017 and in 2021, and in 2022. Oh my god, the paperwork. You do need to have full comprehensive health insurance. No copay. You need to be... Damn it, sensors. Hey Siri, turn on the kitchen lights. You need to have full comprehensive health insurance, no copay, no nothing. You also need to get the clause where if you die, the insurance needs to cover what to do with your body and to send your body back to where you came from. A bit morbid, I know, but it's a life admin thing, and life admin things are not always pretty, so I think my steak has rested enough. It's time to eat. Speaking of paperwork, that is some serious business. If you're someone who doesn't like surprises and want to be as prepared as possible with every single piece of paper, you definitely need to prep at least 6 months out. In some cases, you might need more than 6 months. Example, when I moved from Hong Kong to here, the visa that I got was called a non-lucrative visa, NLV for short. You can live here, you will get a NIE number, which is like a local ID number. You are not legally allowed to work. The stuff that I needed to prepare were bank statements to increase your chances of getting your approval. The more months you show of your bank statement of your income, the better. A letter that proves that you are the owner of your bank account. See, the thing is, I didn't know I had to get a document way ahead of time when I talked to my visa lawyer, and she was surprised that they asked me for that too. So this goes to show that even when you hire a visa lawyer, it's case to case. It depends on which country you're applying from. It depends on your passport. It depends on which country you're going to. It depends on what type of visa you're applying for. So ask all the questions. If you're paying for a lawyer, ask all the questions, get your money's worth. There's also the other document of getting your proof that you have not committed the crime in the country that you're residing in for that amount of time. That also took a few months because those appointments are not so readily available.
And then I take those documents to go to the consulate Spain to get them to the visa somewhere, and then I take those documents to go to administrate it somewhere else to get those documents regionalized to prove that those documents are valid, pretty much, are real, are valid. And then you take those final documents over to the consulate of whichever country that you're applying for, to then submit that, and then you wait.
Don't do what Emily did. Cover all of your bases now before you leave. As we're talking about paperwork, you also need to figure out how you are going to be managing your finances. Which credit card are you using? Will they have a foreign transaction fee? Will it be easy for you to transfer money from your bank account to whichever local account you're doing without astronomical fees? Are you going to be applying for a digital bank and allow you to spend in local currency without losing that much in the exchange rate? How much money can you legally transfer? How much money can you legally bring? All that stuff, you need to think ahead. Timeline to open a bank account might not be as immediate as you think. If you need to buy a car wherever you're at and you're not relying on public transportation, you also need to consider how are you going to be purchasing that car. Are you financing it or are you buying it outright? If you are buying outright, how are you going to be transferring that amount of money from your bank account to your car dealership? Is it going to be a large amount? Or if it's under 10,000 euros or 10,000 grand, because that's the amount that you can travel with anyway in cash, do you bring that amount of cash? Where will you be staying at? Are you going to be staying in a hotel? Are you going to be staying in Airbnb? Which area and neighborhood are you going to be staying at while you hold that amount of cash on you? If it's a temporary housing, think it through, plan it out, cover your bases. Y'all, language. Language matters Just learn the language, do your best, whether it is conversationally or through an app. I use Duolingo.
Cuando hay una tormenta eléctrica, llueve.
Las copias que hice de mi presentación.
Or join a community, talk to different professionals, use a language in different contexts. There's no shame in using broken language. People don't expect you to speak the language perfectly when you are learning. As long as they can see that you're making an effort, they're more likely to help you out. Just put yourself in their shoes. When people come to your country and they don't speak your language, chances are you might feel a little impatient if they don't show any signs of wanting to learn. But if you can see that they're trying and they're really putting effort in and they're really struggling and it's really important of a matter, you'll be more likely to help them out. The thing about learning a language is that it helps you in the habit formation. Naturally, when you are moving to a new country, your routine is going to be havoc. It's going to be chaos. You're going to be constantly finding your routine, refining your routine, building your routine, trying to find what works. If language becomes a barrier to how you want to get things to flow, then chances are it's probably in your benefit to find a way to learn the language and to implement some sort of habit, ritual, routine. Plus, you keep your brain healthy by learning a new language. So it's a win-win-win. I'm just gonna get cozy here and talk about asking for advice. If you're someone curious and you want to cover your bases, naturally you would ask people for their advice. For example, maybe someone had moved to Singapore before and you wanted to know, hey, what is it like in Singapore? But that is such a general question. You may not be able to get the vibe and feel and information that you actually truly need. What to also consider is who you ask. Example. Having lived in Dubai as a tan-skinned Asian woman working in a service industry, even though it's health and fitness, it's still considered a service industry. My experience is probably going to be different from a white guy in whatever industry he's in. And you're gonna get two different stories, even though we live in Dubai at the same time, the same years, and then probably in the same neighborhood and probably in the same building. All it means is your questions could benefit from being more specific. Questions like, can you tell me something you've learned from setting up your business in whichever country it is? If you are a foodie, you could ask questions like, hey, give me the lowdown on what to say locally if I want special food done special way and not charge me the foreigner's price. This is also another one you need to take into consideration, especially if you plan on driving in a new country and you don't have a driver's license. Well, first of all, get a driver's license. Secondly, if you don't have a driver's license, but you need to drive in a new country, perhaps they don't have public transportation in the same way that you're used to at the moment, you might as well take your driver's license test in the new country. Because, take Spain for example. Spain only has agreements with certain countries where you could convert your current driver's license to a Spanish driver's license. Now, I got driver's license in two countries, Hong Kong and Malaysia. Neither one of those countries fall in that list. I'm legally allowed to use whatever driver's license I have right now to drive for 6 months, even if I have an international driver's license. Lastly, get a packing list. Whether you identify as an organized person or not, a packing list will make your life so much easier. I use Notion a lot, and I really wish I had discovered Notion before I moved out here because my brain was literally everywhere. I had notebooks, I had my Apple Notes, I had scraps of paper, I had folders. Everything was just everywhere, and it took me so much more energy just to stay on top of things, and I forgot a lot of things. So I designed a template based on how my brain would have found it helpful, and I've decided to share it with you. If you haven't discovered Notion yet, dude, it's free. I don't get a kickback. You just make your life easier, and I hope that is going to help you, because moving into a new country is an incredible experience that I think everyone should do if you have the opportunity to. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn what you're capable of. You learn just how creative and resourceful you can be. That is all, my friends. I hope you had fun with me today. I will see you in the next one.